You were so excited.
I'm so excited for the barbecue. I'm so excited for the meat. I want to eat some meat. It's so expensive to meat.
He make it like he bought it 3 kilos from Argentina.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, I said, dude, you don't need to buy anything.
Who is that? Matthias?
Matthias.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's him.
I didn't know he's cooking.
Yeah, he's a good chef.
Really? So he's a chef.
He really loves cooking, and he really like sometimes he makes something like make the bread by himself, everything, that pizza pot, everything by himself.
I wish I could do that. I'm so like, first of all, I'm really lazy, and then my kitchen is so tiny, so I hate it. I don't want to cook anything in my kitchen. I don't want to bake. I don't want to do anything. But I would love that. Like
he loved to cook. The time when I said, he said, "Oh, I can make my Argentina barbecue." I said, "Oh, I have the electric grill." Okay, done. Nice. And then he said, "Oh, and my friend is selling Argentina beef and everything." I said, "Okay, go ahead."
You got nice friends, like restaurant owners and people that like to cook and stuff like this. This is really nice. Fuck, I want to have some meat. Cool. Let's talk about a little bit of sourcing, shall we? We're just gonna jump right in. With no introduction or anything. We just speak about a little bit of sourcing, because yesterday we sat together and we spoke a little bit about. We had so many cool stories. I wish we would actually just film that. But now we do this. So we spoke about supplier relationship and how people get screwed and so many different things. Like you told me the story. Maybe we can start with that. You told me the story where, like, you can get the product in a certain quantity, but your customer could never do that because they don't have the relationship. Like, you remember that?
I think you mentioned about the MOQ, right?
Oh, right, that one. Yeah.
Like normally if they really ask for the higher MOQ, it's very difficult to go directly to the Alibaba to talk with the supplier. And then for me, because first of all, I have my own resource. Like I have all those suppliers that already we worked before together. So we have the trust basic already. So this is like, it will be easier for communication. And sometimes also like when we as like Chinese and I represent like a sourcing agent, that they know they will get more business from me than like the B2C or C2C, this relationship with the foreign customer. Also, like most of the real manufacturing, the people, the English is not really good, or they don't really speak any English at all. So yeah, that's why like one thing that we really can get a smaller MOQ. Yesterday I received an email actually. The customer asked me she want like a candle container, and she want like 10 pieces each style, and she want 10 style. And I believe it's very difficult for her to get this. And what I see, because she also sent me like what she received, and that I can see is like from like a trading company, or that the company that they already have like a trading department to sell the products. So yeah, then this is also very difficult for me too, because for 10 pieces is kind of retail. So first of all, I will be honest to the customer, like for 10 pieces, probably you are not getting the price you are really wanting to for wholesale, but I will try my best. First of all, I need to notice them. But after all, I will tell the supplier that, hey, this is like a kind of like sample. If you can offer the good price, later we will have more order. You always, with the supplier, you always need to like step forward, step back, right?
Yeah, so the customers, I think it's so hard to do that from Europe. Like when you're here, you can talk to the customer and you can talk to the factory, and you already like to say, I think it's so cool when you say, okay, let's build a relationship so we have more clients in the future and we can work with, and that they're actually companies thinking long term. Because I feel a lot of times that like people, the way I get messaged when I speak to people on the phone, and they basically think everyone's gonna screw them. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that there's anyone who would not screw them. The same with sourcing agent. Like, I had the question the other day. Someone commented on the channel. She was like, "Look, how do I find an agent? What do I pay them?" Right? So I was like, "Well, you just you look out for it. You interview them. You pay them 5% fee." And she's like, "Yeah, but if I pay them like a percentage, how do I know they're not going to increase the price like crazy so that they get more money?" Right? And I was like, there are some people that don't want to screw you, right? But what's your take on that? Because I see a lot of times where people say, well, I don't like, do I need to always pay the 5%, or I just need to pay them the first time? Like, how do you see that basically from your perspective as someone who does the sourcing?
But actually, yeah, as I was mentioned about that before, like why 5%? Actually, be honest, 5% for what we work for is actually very little. But the reason why is only 5% and we charge it like we put it on the list. We don't hide and hidden. We try not to. Like this is not really good. I want to put everything on the table. And why 5% is because I look for more long term. Like I look for the further cooperation that we will keep this running, and then you trust me, I trust you, we trust each other, and this is all most of the business running. But I know, like in China, most of the customers that are Chinese, we are not ready.
Yeah, right. So you basically think everyone's gonna screw you.
Because
right?
it was like before it did happen. Like I have the customer that they've been chatting with someone on the internet. He found them on Alibaba or like somewhere, like cannot say like from certain place, and then he believed that is a supplier. So they already like cooperate for 1 year, and then it was exactly like a Chinese New Year, and then the supplier just like, oh, we don't produce this product anymore because the profit margin is not good. So bye bye, see you. We don't produce anymore. So the customer like have 1 month out of stock, like because he need to find a new one, and then he doesn't trust if it's a trading company or it's a manufacturing, and if the quality is good, they need to organize sample and inspection and everything, and then it's not all the time the first sample is good. Second sample, third one, and then he changed the supplier. So like it's a long time. It's quite time wasted. Or one customer of mine also like he believed he was talking with the manufacturer, and then 1 year he was very happy that, oh, I'm going to the Canton Fair so I can visit your factory. And you know what happened? Like the guy who the supplier he talked with before like never replied, and he was like weird. So he was like checking the invoice that the supplier gave him. He checked the invoice and then followed the address of the invoice, and he went to that place and it was nothing, and he didn't find like any factory over there.
Yeah.
So I think this is very important as a sourcing agent. We make sure about that because we're the local here. And also one thing yesterday we talked about before about the refund. Actually, like if you send like a big volume, like 10,000 pieces, you go send to Amazon, for example. And then there is some quality problem or failure because when they arrive after long time shipment, you don't know what is the delivery company, they throw or whatever, maybe some destroyed. And then when the customer take pictures and prove me that, oh, it got destroyed in the warehouse, I can talk with the supplier and then to make sure next order, the customer will get extra order. Sometimes it's even more than the quality, the quantity that was broken.
Yeah, so basically there's an insurance.
Yeah.
So the sourcing agent acts as an insurance. I think there's so many opportunity costs that people don't. They're like, oh, I don't want to pay the 5%. Like, first of all, they're not actually paying 5%. They're paying, like, you give them such a better price, for example, right? And so if they would not have the agent, they would pay more already. And then when something goes wrong, the agent is there to help, right? So I think it's more likely that if they go by themselves, that the factory is going to screw them, or the factory, the supplier is going to screw with them, rather than the agent, right? If you have a good agent.
Yeah, the communication is very important.
Also, maybe we can talk about that a little bit, about the shipping issues. What do you see are the biggest like shipping issues that appear when people, maybe they have a good supplier and everything goes well? Like, how do you make sure that everything goes smoothly with the shipping as well?
After you confirm, it will be very easy to arrange. But from the beginning with the packaging, like supplier, first of all, the carton box. So domestic supplier, especially when those like they never export, or like the supplier, they have no idea this goods is going to the abroad. They don't use like a certain like stronger carton box. So when they arrive in our warehouse, it's like destroyed, because I also manage the shipping part. So the supplier was found by the customer or something, and when this carton box arrived in our warehouse, it's like totally destroyed. Sometimes the goods also broken, but sometimes it arrived with the whole carton box was like destroyed. And second situation is the supplier didn't know this goods is going to international. They have no idea. So they use like this kind of plastic bag, like the big bag one, and then they just ship the goods with a big bag. to our warehouse. So we
like
have
not
to,
even a box,
no,
like
not
just
even,
a plastic bag.
Yeah, like sometimes the textilian, like scarf, or sometimes like the balloon. Like supplier, they normally use the bag. They don't use the cotton box. And this is one thing that we need to really make sure of the cotton box. It will be strong enough for the international shipment. Second of all is the size of the cotton box. So each like the length of the cotton box is like less than one meter. It must be for the shipping. But to Amazon warehouse, some of the Amazon warehouse they require for less than 62 centimeter. And then this is very important, and some supplier they didn't know. Also, like for the pre-meter, so for the pre-meter cannot be over 3 meter. And also for the weight is very important. The weight is like for the air DDP shipment to Amazon. Normally you need to be over 21 kilogram the DDP. If you not, we don't talk about DHL or FedEx. We talk about like the DDP shipment. It means delivery duty paid. That is like from China to American or the other Amazon warehouse with tax included and custom clearance included, all included, and delivery. This kind of shipment for air is like minimum 21 kg, and for the sea is minimum 100 kg. So this is most of the customer they didn't know. So when they arrange the shipment, it's my duty to tell them, hey, your goods is like 75 kilograms, and if you want to be like cheaper for the shipping, if you have more stuff, probably you can consolidate all together to ship, and it will be cheaper. Recently, I do one shipment to American, like a warehouse from UPS. The customer only have 71 kilogram, and the shipment is around about like 5 USD by sea per kilogram. And then I would suggest them that, okay, I know him that because I sourced the product for him as well. I said, I know that you have the more goods coming in. I would suggest you to ship all together, because when it's over 1 ton, the price is only 2 USD per kilo. So it was better. And then the customer take the address, the advice, and then he also will be very happy about that, that someone give him this advice.
This is another thing, like this can save you so much money, because the factory doesn't care.
Yeah.
The factory doesn't give a shit if the customer saves money on shipping or not. They oftentimes just charge extra on it, and they just make a rough number. It's like, oh, it's $7, whatever, and you know they just pay the difference. So there are so many importances in finding the right agent, and I feel like there are so many people that are still so cheap with it that it's like, okay, like maybe 5% is too much. There's some agent that offers 1%. And I go with them. What do you think about that? If someone gets an offer and it says, okay, I charge 1% of that, what's your thought on agents like that?
Actually, this situation, it happens. Sometimes they say, oh, the agency source for free. But do you really believe that the source for free? But in this situation, I will just like, you can compare, because this market is very open. Everybody knows. So you can compare with the other supplier. You can compare. And then you compare with the price, you compare with the service, and then you know what you need. Because by talking is sometimes it's not really prove anything. For me, I'm a person like I like to be put on the action. So I'm no problem for that. Like when the customer say, "Oh no, your price is too high," I say it's okay. This is the price I give, and this is the best I can do, and you can go to compare with the other agency and everything.
Yep.
But finally, they will still come to me. And actually, I have a very funny situation. I have a customer. He actually already connected with the supplier. And then he asked me to source same products. He asked that supplier to send me the sample, and then asked me to source the product. And actually, I have even better price than the manufacturer gave him. So then he moved the order like to me for the sourcing, like asked me to source the accessories and everything. And he only like have like some certain pieces, like certain items from the manufacturer. And then most of the other accessories that it will be purchased by my side, and he will pay the 5%, because plus the 5%, he still think it's cheaper. than another the manufacturing. And that happened from last month. He asked me to order one product. I tell him the price. He said, I want 8,000 pieces. Please get it. I want it very cheap, very cheap. And then I said, this is the best I can find. I talked with the supplier. I called them. Finally, they reduced like 0.2 USD. It's not too much, but in China it's a lot. Like 1 RMB, 2 RMB is different. And then I told him that this is the best I can get. So he went to his supplier and asked the supplier. The supplier quoted the price at half of mine. And he told me like, Carmen, why you give me this price? I said, well, as I said, this is the best I can do. But I'm very happy if you find the same quality, same box, like same item as half price. I'm very happy for you. And please order from that manufacturer. And then, do you know what happened? After all,
I can guess, yeah.
He come back to me. Come on, please help me to order this one. Because the other manufacturer, they don't understand what I mean. And they quoted me the wrong products. And that is not what I want. And then when I present them what I want, really what I want, their price is 30% higher than mine. Plus my 5% service. So this is what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it happens again and all the time. This happens that people want to save a little percent here and a little something there, but actually, after all, it's not saving anything. Like if you get screwed, if the price isn't like not even with like the price, if the shipping doesn't go right, if something is packed wrong, if like whatever happens, it's such a big hassle to deal with it. And like if you save 10%, for example, by doing it yourself, or you think you save 10%. I'd still go with an agent, because that means if 10%, that means in 10 orders that I place, everything has to go perfect. If one thing has a problem, then I'd be paying, and I lose that money from one order, well, then I'd still be paying the same money, because then I need to pay for the order. So I could have just go with something 10% more expensive, make sure everything goes all right, right? So it's a little bit funny. And
actually, by all the experience with the supplier, I also see some very good supplier. So it doesn't mean that all the supplier will screw you, but most of the time it's very headache. Even they're very nice people. I met a supplier like one supplier, very good supplier. He was really trying to help to make the product, but the mindset is different. Like what we talked about before, like the sample. The customer requests everything details. I go through with him with all the details, and he really do it. But the customer have very small MOQ. We need to open the mold, and most of the mold manufacturer, they don't want to open the mold for 800 pieces. So it's difficult for him to find the mold company to make the mold, because they don't make the mold. They need to ask the mold company to make the mold, and after the mold, they can produce the whole product. So he have to ask his friends. He really did his effort, and I really see it. And every time, because I was so rushed, he delivered the sample by himself. He drive the car and delivery from Guangzhou to Shenzhen to deliver the sample. So I can see the supplier is really want to work it out. But the sample that he produced is that we went through the detail, it was black color. But when I received the sample, is another color. So I was like, why you spend so much time, have a lot of effort, and you didn't come out with the same sample that the customer requests? And then he said, it's just color different. It's okay. When you just check the quality, check the style, and then if color you want to change, or the material you want to change plastic to metal, everything we can do after.
Or the change, not even the color, but change plastic to metal. That's something, okay.
But not on the sample. So they are very nice, but they don't understand. A sample to represent the customer is the final version of what because the customer are in another country. They have to see the products before they really place the big order. Otherwise, you don't feel good. Because I can stay in their side to think. If I'm in Germany or I'm in America and I bought something from China, and for the history, Chinese manufacturing didn't have very good reputation, as I know. Yes, I'll be honest. So yeah, that's why at the time when I come up the idea to be a sourcing agent, because I have like international friends and the customers, and then I think I want to do something right. I want to help. I want to, of course, it's a business. So of course I have profit from that. But it basically come up the idea is to help, and I want to change the foreigners' idea of Chinese manufacturer or the Chinese mentality. Like, oh, they always screw you or sometimes. So I hope one day it can be by the younger generation that we have more understanding of the Western culture, that we can do it better, and then to change the people's idea of Chinese manufacturing.
It's very different. Like, I think because if I wouldn't have been in China, I would also not know. You know, there are so many things that if you haven't been around the people, you don't know. And even if you're here for a year or for two, and it's just everything pisses you off. Like, everything you see, it's annoying, right? Everything annoys you because you just don't understand how things work, and just after some time you get so used to how things are, and you understand it. And like, there's so many things. Like when I was living in the factory area, when I just started out, I was just like, my hotel was like next to the factory in Fuyong. And so people would come and make pictures of me. Like, I would just sit downstairs, and then people would go and make pictures of me. And I was okay with that, but I know people that would have felt offended. They're like, they shouldn't take pictures of me. It's my privacy, blah blah blah. You know, like,
yes, it happens. It happens.
Yeah, but it's actually just because they haven't seen a foreigner. They come from countryside China, never seen anything like that. So it's just an interest. It's something curious, right? It's not. It doesn't mean that disrespecting it or something.
From another side, it happened to us too. Like the time when I was in Germany, and then you know that in the New Year's Eve, the kids will go to knock the door, ask for candy and sing. And then the time I was like, oh, so cute. So I make a camera and I take my phone, try to take picture of the kids. And my friend stopped me like, if you want to take pictures of the kids, please ask the parents' permission. It's not China. You cannot just take random pictures without asking. I was like, oh, and then that moment I really understand, like, it's really different.
When we speak about like Chinese, like the things are just different. Maybe you have other stories about factories. Maybe you have something that something goes wrong that just were because of misunderstandings, or things weren't aligned, or anything that crazy happened. Do you have any story, anything that people should hear about, or that you want to share, like any story, anything that you know from a manufacturer that happened, where you were like, why is this happening?
With us? With our work?
With anything, maybe something you heard, something you experienced.
First of all, it will be like, as I said, like the samples, like they don't understand that how finally the sample it will be represent the order. And second of all, it will be like the very sensitive time is before Chinese New Year. So all the workers, they really want to go home, because it's like only once per year they can go home to spend the time with the family for 1 month or 2. So at that time, the workers, they are like crazy. They don't care about what they are doing. Like sometimes, like one time, we have the product with the tape. It's transparent tape, and tape on the back. Transparent tape, you don't see too obviously. And then sometimes, like, that is the only one time, because we send a lot of the products. One time before Chinese New Year, they run out of the transparent tape. They don't even go to buy new one. They use the yellow tape. Anyway, it's a tape, but it's like yellow, you know, this kind of color. So the back is like gray, a gray color, and with the tape like this on it. And the customer was super pissed. He was like, Carmen, what is going on? Like, why you have yellow tape on my products? And then it was disaster. Customer gets super pissed. And then, of course, because I represent the manufacturer, so I need to deal with it. So I was like trying to comfort the customer, and I need to take the responsibility. So I was talk with the manufacturer, okay, what you can do to fix this, because as I said, like all the manufacturer I found, first of all, I will find like a really reliable boss. I need to know that they have the same mindset as I do. They will see me as a team member. Then it will be better. I talked with that supplier, and then he was also very sorry for the situation. He said, oh yeah, because everybody want to go home, I hire part-time workers. This is all the time happen. Because Chinese New Year, some workers go home earlier. But every customer, they want all the goods to ship before Chinese New Year, because then otherwise you need to wait 2 months or one month at least. 1 month waiting because no people work. Another 1 month if you want to, then they start to produce. So another month, so 2 months waiting. And then 1 month for delivery. So it means that 3 months.
There's a lot of cash flow tied up there.
Yes. So before Chinese New Year, this is also a tip for the people who doing the Amazon business, or like you before Chinese New Year, you need to have the stock at least for 3 months. You need to calculate, otherwise it will be disaster. And but before Chinese New Year, maybe your order is better to move 2 months before Chinese New Year to set the order, that they are not so rushed. If they are so rushed, so many mistakes, you can never stop them.
Yeah, it's a very tough time, like for someone buying products and owning e-commerce. It's such a because first of all, like from June to November, you're stocking up so many more goods than you need, because December and Christmas time everyone sells. So you're very, very short on cash flow, right? And then in that time before Chinese New Year, 2 months before that, which is then December, right? So in December, where you haven't made all the money back yet, then you need to put up more cash flow for then more orders to just sustain that.
Many customers, they don't do.
Right.
They wait until they receive the money.
Yeah.
And then they push us like, fast, I need to ship them before Chinese New Year, otherwise I'm out of stock.
Right.
But this is something that, this is really a good point. This is like all the time happen.
This is something you don't know, because if you don't have Chinese New Year in your country, like you don't even know when it is. Like people don't think about it. And it's not only like the Chinese New Year time. Like you look in the calendar, okay, it's this 1 week is Chinese New Year. No, it's not like there's more time where the factory's closed, where the people aren't there, where the people don't care. When the people come back, you have all the backlog of orders where the factory isn't quick. You have 30-day lead time now, maybe 60. Like it's such a different situation.
Actually, I think of a funny way to say the Chinese New Year is like a quarantine time.
Yeah.
Then everybody know.
That way I understand.
Yes. It's like because nobody work.
Right.
Nobody work. Everything stopped. Like quarantine time is very similar.
Yeah.
We have the Chinese New Year with our quarantine time together. You remember, like this year, it was like everything quiet.
Yeah.
Nothing
they completely
at all.
flew in. Yeah. It was a bad time. Yeah. Because it went right into each other from Chinese New Year on.
Yeah.
Then there was, because in the Western world, they didn't even, there was just like, oh, China has the thing, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't even there. So from, when was it, February to mid of March, when it started in the Western world, like we just had it here, right?
Then you guys can understand what is going on.
Right.